Welcome to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. Well, you know.
That's not a rib.
She pooted.
What a rib?
No, yeah,
There's no box of gimmicks.
Rumor and innuendo.
I don't deal in rumor and innuendo. And was he there? I was there. I don't give a shit. I ain't scared.
I ain't scared of shit.
Fuck him.
You, Bruce.
I love you.
Double cheeseburger, double cheese, double mayo, double onion, motherfucker.
Bruce Prichard.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Something to Wrestle with. What's left of Bruce Prichard. Bruce, what's going on, man? How are you?
Word. Shoulder hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you feeling, buddy?
I feel like dog shit. I feel like dog shit that has been warmed up naturally, not in like a microwave.
It's like a sun-baked turd.
Yes.
Okay.
Like a sun-baked, like one that came out pretty mushy, but still formed.
Yeah.
And
We don't
feel real good.
I was hoping.
So here's the thing. This goddamn, what the fuck is catching on my thing?
Thanks for joining us, boys and girls, and Merry Christmas. We hope you're having a blessed Christmas and holiday weekend.
All right. So look, see, I got this hose.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain this, and then I said I'll do it all. So I'm wearing my ice machine.
You have an ice machine on your body.
Huh?
You have an ice machine on your body?
I am like Mr. Freeze right now.
Okay.
Okay. Because see, this here hose right here, this blue hose, because we ain't down low enough to see any other hoses. So this blue hose connects to
The apparatus on your shoulder. Okay.
Down there.
All right.
Okay. And then through these tubular tubes, they put icy coldness on my shoulder and like all over my shoulder, so as to make sure that I keep it iced at all times, because I had major surgery that fucked up my thing. Uh-oh.
Bruce, what day of the week is it?
Dude, I legitimately have no idea whatsoever.
I'm thinking maybe, possibly, we might.
And no, I'm not taking a bunch of pills either, because I don't want to do that. As I had one beforehand because I'm fucking hurting, because y'all scared me and jarred me and all that good shit.
Wait, how did we scare and jar you?
Yeah, you know. Don't play dumb with me. Don't play silly haha with me. I play silly haha. You don't play silly haha. I'm the silly haha guy.
I'm the straight man. I got it. But
You're the straight man.
I'm saying, as the straight man, I'm wondering, since you don't even know what day it is.
Okay, well, here's the deal.
Okay.
I was led to believe, because this is what I heard.
Okay.
Was we were starting at 4:00. So I was available at 4:00. I even called into the thing. And the fella on the other end was on the thing, man. He had his shirt off. I don't even want to discuss all the other things I saw.
Yeah.
But I said, hey, hello, Mr. Prichard. I said, yo, what up? And he said, Mr. Conrad will be right here. I said, okay, great. But Mr. Conrad wasn't right there. And I got to the point where, okay, back up again. Last time I had shoulder surgery, man, it was like I was in, I was out. Then I was that day, I was in a meeting. The next day, I was in a meeting, and I fucking went, and I never ever had the pain like people talk about with shoulder surgery.
Right.
Everybody told me, "Oh, this will be the worst thing you ever do." And so this time, I was expecting it to be like last time, which I had no pain. Like zero pain. This one
Swerve, bro.
is like the one where they tell you, oh yeah, man, this sucks. Out of all of them surgeries that you want to get, this is why this one is at the bottom of the motherfucking list. And you got to wear this thing all the time, and you got to keep it full. Cold ice. Okay. And then you have to sleep in a upright position in a recliner, recliner, put your little footsies up and all that shit. We got to sleep in an upright position because they want your shoulder to heal. They want you got to keep it in this fucking gimmick. I don't know if you can see my whole apparatus here, but so like my apparatus and shit is going down there. Ooh, this actually looks like I just got like pit stains.
It does. I wasn't going to say
that. It does, doesn't it?
It looks pretty gnarly. You look kinda, yeah.
Yeah. I look like the Mr. Freeze, bionic Mr. Freeze.
I guess the question is, do you think you're capable of doing a show today?
Dude, I am capable of doing a show more so than you want me to start dropping names?
No.
Okay.
I like that even when you're sick and hurting and injured and wounded and down for the count, you still got that smart ass in you just itching to come out. I like that about you.
Well, me and that little feller that helps you there.
Yep.
You know, it's always over at your house all the time, partying, having a good time, takes you out to lunch, all that shit all the time.
Yep.
Well, we were talking.
Okay.
About that. And he was, I mean, he's like, oh, well, man, what are you doing? You can do like poo-poo. And I explained to him that the idea of a bidet.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So he was wondering how you wipe your ass. Did you ever wipe your ass with your left hand?
What do you mean?
I wipe my ass with my right hand. I don't wipe my ass with my left hand.
I don't wipe my ass with my left hand either.
Yeah.
However, it still require two hands to poo-poo properly.
Does it?
And clean, yeah. But if you have a bidet.
Oh, you got a little tag team partner.
And you get the little enema gimmick going on up in there, and then you get the other little thing, and you're clean, and you're dry, and you have a dryer on it. There's no need.
That's right.
He was so confused with that.
But he's used my bathrooms before. He knows.
Oh, I know. He shits on the floor in most bathrooms.
That's true. I forgot about that part. You're right. I forgot. Silly me.
Yeah, but see, I don't. I'm civilized, and I like to be clean. And that's the other thing. So like on this one, I've got one scar about like yay big. On this one, I've got 3 scars about yay big. So, yeah.
For the people who are listening to our show.
It was not so, okay. For the people that aren't watching on YouTube, they're listening to the show going, well, I don't know how big yay big is.
That's right.
I got like a little scar on the first one, but I got 3 big ones on this latter one. Yeah, big ones.
We like big ones.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, listen, I'm excited that you're still mostly here with us today, and we want to wish want to wish everybody a happy Christmas, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. This is, of course,
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Our last show before Christmas. We got one more coming at you before the new year. Bruce, this is the time of year where a lot of people sort of take a look back and reflect on, the last 12 months and, what they're going to, what worked and what didn't work and what to do more of in the new year and less of in the new year. I know we're a few weeks away from thinking about New Year's resolutions, but do you have some things you want to do differently in 2024 you want to share with us?
No.
Great. I also wanted to ask, in terms of Christmas.
You know what, man? You know what I'm going to do?
What's that?
Different in the new year, Conrad, is I'm going to try not procrastinate. And I'm gonna, if my shoulder hurts and they tell me to get surgery,
You're going to fucking do it the first time?
I'm not going to wait a year and a month to do it.
I think that's probably good advice.
That's good advice, man. And I don't know. I kind of quit with the New Year's resolutions. Man, just try to be nicer and better and all that good stuff. And that's a big thing, man. You know, I've told you the story about Randy Savage,
Yes,
right?
yes. Tell it again.
You know,
now.
I think I've told it on this show, I think, you know. So he talks about the movie that Jerry Lewis was in about the comedian, and his brother managed him and all this stuff. And towards the end of the movie, his brother was firing everybody, and his brother asked him something. He goes, "Man, am I an asshole or something?" He kind of was like, "Yeah," or whatever. But he goes, "You know, you just could have been nicer." And I think about that. I try to think about that in everything that I do with folks, and just try to be nicer. And it's not that I kind of quit being an asshole a while ago. Look, for the most part, you didn't.
No, I dodged that bullet.
You got like you didn't get like a turtle head. I mean, I used to be a bad asshole, and I've calmed down in my old age. Try to be a little nicer. It's not worth it. You get a lot more with sugar than you do with what's the other stuff that they say?
Maybe vinegar.
I don't know. Vinegar's not bad. Vinegar's good for you.
Well, sugar and salt look alike, but they're way different. And we're glad that you're here with us today, and we're going to do our best to do a fun show. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in and your patience. I know we've had a rather erratic recording schedule, but now you know why. You know, we're spilling the beans here, and we hope you guys.
I've had an erratic schedule.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I mean, you've had some craziness in your professional life, and then bam, this surgery was not nearly as easy as the first one as you laid out. So we're thinking about you. Tell me this though. What's the Prichard family Christmas going to look like this year, since you're all gimpy?
So this is what's great, man. This is hilarious. Amber, my daughter, is going to be on a road trip with her boyfriend. They left a long time ago, and they're just traveling all over the country. Their two dogs, and seeing people and saying hello and taking a nice trip across the country, which, man, you know what? 24 years old, and that's what you want to do. And
pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, man. Go have at it. My son is here, but he's got a girlfriend, and you know, he likes to spend time with her. So he's probably going to be spending time with her. And then I've got a wife and a new dog. And then I got my old little dog, who's a good boy. And then I got my good girl, my new puppy dog. And we're going to just have a nice little quiet Christmas here. In my formal office, as I like to call it right there, we cleared off the center table, you know, where I had the ring with the guys in it.
Yes.
Okay. So we cleared all that off. We put a Christmas tree up there because we don't trust the puppy. Because when I say she's a puppy, she's a year and a month or so and 60 pounds. So he's a good puppy though. And we're just we're going to chill. We're going to take it nice and easy. My rehab starts on the 26th, so that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that because doing it sooner is better than waiting. And we'll probably have some. Our dinner will consist of Jimmy's seafood.
Oh, hell yeah.
Jimmy's the world famous seafood, the best damn in the whole wide world. I was ordering something else and I couldn't, I couldn't figure something out on it. And like an asshole, I called Jimmy and I said,
You called John.
I called Jimmy. I called John Jimmy.
Okay. All right. We'll go
anyway, I called John.
Yes.
Thank God bless America, folks. Sorry, man. I'm a hurting puppy here.
Yeah.
So I called John.
Yes, our buddy.
And I said, John, I want to send this to my thing. Here's my credit card. Here's my stuff and all this stuff. And I said, and I'm probably going to be calling you back in about 15 minutes once my wife decides what she wants. Because I just want to do Jimmy's for Christmas. He goes, oh, don't worry about it. And so he's sending me some stuff, and he always sends a bountiful supply of the absolute greatest crab cakes in the world. And then he knows I like the pot pie. He knows what I like, and he just sends a bunch of it, and he's just so damn giving and a great guy and the best damn food in the world. So,
I'm glad you said that because I've been doing crab balls on Christmas Eve. We do
tiny, right?
Dude, I love them. It's a great little appetizer.
You get a big one.
Yeah, I don't want the big crab cakes. I mean, they are massive, but I like the little crab balls, and I do the 12 packs, and I'm getting them right now. I'm glad you reminded me because I can get it in time. And
yes,
if you're looking for the ultimate dish, Jimmy's Famous Seafood has it. It's jimmysfamousseafood.com. There's lots of reasons to get together. So if you're listening to this and it's too late to get it in time for Christmas, you can still get it in time for New Year's, for bowl season, for all that other stuff. But everybody is always happy when they're using, or when they're enjoying some Jimmy's Famous Seafood. So you know what, but just for shits and giggles, try the old code Wrestle over there. See if it gets you a good deal. It might. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
It works on a lot of other stuff.
You know what? Even if it doesn't, it's worth it.
Oh, it's worth every bit of it.
And it's what I'm having. It's what I'm having. And it's what I'm enjoying. And it's what I sent out to as gifts this year. So
I love it.
It's a great gift as well.
It is awesome. It's jimmysfamousseafood.com. And our topic today is Armageddon 2000. We haven't done a topic like this in a while, Bruce. We went old school. And we actually put a poll up over on social media at Prichard Show, and the listeners got to decide
23 years ago, man,
what we wanted. And there's the results. As you see, coming in last place was Brother Love's primetime wrestling debut. And second place,
I didn't even know what that was, frankly.
I don't think a lot of people did. It only got 10%, but Tatanka got 21.4%.
What did you vote for?
I voted for Tatanka. One Man Gang / Akeem got 31.2%, and somehow, some way,
one of those votes was mine.
Armageddon 2000. You wanted to do Akeem? That was your vote, Akeem? Yeah, well,
that was my vote.
Well, we'll make that happen. I know a guy. We can make Akeem happen.
Because I had some fun with him and traveled with him a little bit on the road, and a nicer guy. It'd be hard to find. And just good stuff, man.
I got tremendous feedback from our Heart Foundation episode. If you haven't heard that one yet, go out of your way to check it out.
So did I.
I mean, it felt like an old school Something to Wrestle, Bruce. You were in a good mood. You had some prime in you.
I'm in a good mood now.
So we're going to have a great show today. I would encourage you, stay tuned to our X account or Twitter account or whatever the fuck it's called. It's at Prichard Show. And we'll be running some more polls because I'd like to do another tag team. But let's talk about where we are here.
Can I make one other point?
Yes, please. Please do.
This is only for our YouTube viewers.
Okay.
People that can see us.
Yep. Over at somethingtowrestle.com.
I swear to God, I'm not as fat as I appear in this, but this shirt is like 2 sizes too big because I got to wear it really big because of how everything fits on here. So I just want to point that out. I wear 2 sizes smaller. I just wanted to say that.
All good, Daddy.
Because if I wore the correct size, I'd really look bad. Is that right? And then I'd be saying, "Hey, I'm just fat here, folks, and I don't want y'all to know that I'm trying to KSA fizz a bit." Just another thing I learned. Have you discovered these shoes that you just step into?
Slides? Yes.
No, not slides. No.
Are you about to hit me with hey dudes?
No. What are they?
Crocs?
Kizix.
What?
Kizix.
I don't even know what the fuck.
Kizik. Motherfuckers, y'all owe me money for that plug there too. Dude, they're like shoes.
They're women's shoes. I just looked them up. They're female shoes.
No, they're not.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now.
Well, they got men's shoes too.
Nope.
Yeah, they did.
No, I'm looking at it right now.
Well, you're looking at the wrong shit.
No, I'm just kidding. They do have men's shoes. But why are we doing this? Why are we talking?
I don't know. It's Kevin Owens' fault because Kevin Owens came in and Kevin Owens was wearing these shoes and I watched him put them on and I said, well, goddamn, how'd you do that? And he showed me these shoes and then I bought those shoes, but they didn't work the way that they worked with Kevin and I got pissed off. And so I went back and yelled at Kevin. He says, well, give them to me, which y'all probably end up doing. But I still like the concept and I got these and these are I don't know if I'll ever wear another shoe as long as I live, ever.
Do we, is there anybody else who's not a sponsor that you'd like to do a commercial for right now at the top of the show before we even talk about wrestling?
I know. What am I doing? What the fuck am I doing?
I don't know. We do have sponsors who actually paid to be on the show, but let's just keep rattling off all this other
Let's just keep rattling off other shit that I have found lately. Hey, y'all seen these things right here? Look at this. This little thing right here.
Yeah.
You put paper in it. Boom, open it up. Bam.
Are you sure we're okay to do a show right now?
I goddamn sure am. It'll be an entertaining show too, because I'm funny. Ask me.
All right. Well, we're coming off Survivor Series 2000. Kurt Angle has made his first defense of his newly won WWF Championship over The Undertaker with a little help from his brother Eric. The Rock defeated Rikishi after Rikishi.
Oh my God, dude. So Eric.
Yes.
Great guy. In the Angle family, they dished out some great athletes,
one after another.
Yeah, one right after the other. But Kurt kind of had it all, and everything. And Eric tried, but Eric just didn't quite have it. But when the opportunity to use Eric as a double for Kurt, because somebody thought he was Kurt backstage at a show one time, I thought was absolutely wonderful. And he talked to him like he was Kurt because he didn't realize that they thought that he was Kurt. That's where I go. What I mean with the God doesn't, hell of an athlete though.
All right. Can we show that picture of The Undertaker again? I know Mr. Calloway, the real life Mr. Calloway, is one of your great close personal friends, but how would you describe his pants here?
Oh, that's a big snake.
This
like an anaconda that they call. They thought slithering through the Danube River. They thought the women through there, and they snapped that snake, and they say, "You gonna be a pair of pants, bitch.
Oh,
You gonna be a pair of pants for the Undertaker." And they took its skin and they said, "Hey, yo, how about these people that look like an anaconda from the Danube?" That's what they are.
those pants look like they're out of the Michael Hayes collection.
I do. So, did I have we discussed since I talked about the military guys?
I don't know what you're talking about. Right
Oh, goddamn, this is great. I know I'm not supposed to talk about current shit. This was so fucking awesome, though. We did tribute to the troops recently.
Oh, yeah.
And I am my family, my brother Tom and I were the only two that did not serve in the military because we
Did wrestling.
But my father was 23 years in the Army. I had a brother that was 3 years in the Army, one 4 years in the Air Force, and the other one 3 years in the Army. I come out of the production office, and there's this huddle of guys that were talking to the Miz. And they go, "Oh my God, it's him. Oh my God. Bruce Prichard, oh my God, we love you, man. Oh my God." And Miz is like looking at me going, "Talking to the Miz here." They go, "Yeah, but can you introduce us to him?" And I walked over and I introduced myself to these fine gentlemen and I thanked them for their service. And they went on to tell me about how our podcast helps them get through some really fucked up times, man, when they're out on maneuvers,
Wow.
When they're stationed overseas. And I thought that was the absolute greatest compliment that I could ever get.
Absolutely.
That for our servicemen, that they listen to us, in the trenches. And these guys were so excited and they were so nice and they were just so wonderful. And right about the time, and I'm going, "Really nice to meet you guys. I got to run." And Michael Hayes is walking down the hall. And they look, and I go, "Hey," I said, "You guys know Michael Hayes?" And every one of them in unison goes, "Dun, dun, dun!"
They dooted Michael Hayes because they were
dooted Michael.
And they're in uniform, so he can't say shit, right?
And I'm on the floor. Well, he didn't hear it at first.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He keeps going. I said, "Hey, Michael, come here, man. I want you to meet some guys." And Michael comes down and he's standing there. I said, "Guys, I would like for you to greet him the way that you just did when you first saw him." And all of them in unison were doot, doot, doot. And Michael, I think Michael swears I put him up to it, but it was the funniest thing that I had seen. I don't know. That doesn't top the fact that they listen to us over there, but it does top the fact that it made my day that the guys that guard our country and make sure that we have the freedoms we have said doot, doot, doot to the doot, 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 man.
What a great story.
It was, yeah. It's funny. I'm sorry, I'm going to be all over the place on this one, Conrad.
I'm good with it.
But tribute to the troops. I never got to go overseas. I never got to go to Afghanistan. I never got to go to any of those places when we did those crazy trips. And I always wanted to. I wish I could have, but things just didn't work out at the time. And to be able to give back to the guys and gals that serve our country for no other reason other than to make sure that we're all safe and to make sure that we have the freedoms that we have. So hats off to the men and women of our United States services that support our country and take care of us. And that's very important to me, just because, it's in the family. So it was pretty cool. I can see you.
I like that you're in a good mood, man. This
That's gonna become my motherfucker today, maybe.
The Rock would defeat Rikishi after Rikishi ran Steve Austin over. And Steve Austin is going to kill Triple H because he dropped him in a car from a forklift. And well, you take the bald son of a bitch out with a car, that's what you do. But sometimes a car gets dropped on you or with you in it, however that saying goes. Some crazy stuff here happening in the World Wrestling Federation in 2000, but it is an all-time high for the company. WWF, which is World Wrestling Federation Entertainment, reported a strong financial result from August and all the way through October, a 27% increase from 88.2 million the year prior to 111.8 million. And 98 is really largely remembered as like the turnaround of the WWE. 99 is well remembered for the strength of the business, but 2000 really just blows away the two prior years. Does it feel like at this point, 96, we're trying to find our identity. 97, we're getting some momentum, but we're not there yet. 98, it feels like we made it. We beat it in 99. We beat it in 2000. These are the best years you've ever had in the company at that point, no?
Up to that point, yeah, it was amazing. And when you think about the business as a whole, and for me as a kid growing up in Houston in a office on the corner of 1919 Carolina on the corner of Pierce and downtown Houston, just this one little office, then we had the Titan Towers. Now we have the unbelievable offices that we have now that are incredible. Yes, it blew me away. It blew me away the business we were doing. It blew me away that you could walk into a mall pretty much anywhere in the country and see an Austin 316 or a DX or an Undertaker shirt or a Rock shirt of some kind. It was all around you. You couldn't escape it. And for me, I look at that and how you charter success. Well, when your shit's everywhere and people are buying it and they're talking it up and it's more than water cooler, it's everything. And yeah, it was a good time, and it was a time that we were also, as crazy as a lot of it sounds, we were also trying to settle down and get away from some of the Vince Russo stuff, because we were learning. You grow, and looking at, all right, are we gonna get a beer? Are we gonna get Jack Daniels or whoever? Are we gonna get a sponsor like that is adult advertising? Or are you gonna go for Mattel? Are you gonna go for Snickers? What's it gonna be? And it was during this time that you're finding out how much more difficult it is to secure a adult beverage, if you will, and our demographics skewed much younger. The Mattels of the world were willing to pay, a lot of money to advertise on the show and to do business with you. And there was just so much more than your ego. There was so much more than, well, this is what we want to do. We want to draw a big house. Okay, man, those days were gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you want to have a great show, and you want to do a rating, and you want to draw a big house. But now you want sponsors, and you don't just want a sponsor. You want sponsors that are going to stick with you and be associated with your brand, so that when you think about WWE, you think about a certain brand. And adding up those dollars and being able to get folks in that were professional and people that had the capacity to go out and get those kind of sponsors, saying, okay, yes, we can do that, but maybe we need to pull back on some of the more risque things that we've done. We tried to walk the line. We did a little bit of both. But as time would turn out, you would skew younger, and there was just more business-wise. It was, for business sense, it made more sense to skew younger.
We're also just about 1 year removed from Vince Russo leaving the WWF. You know, I think most people remember he left in like October of 99. You're still, you know, battling with WCW, if you want to call it that. I mean, they're technically on the air, but it's on its last legs, but it's still technically there. Sort of the same for ECW. I mean, the cream rises to the top, as old Randy Savage used to say, but were you feeling, how much had like, just talk to me about the impact of Russo leaving. Like, was that, in the benefit of hindsight, was that a major deal? Like, I know it was a major acquisition for WCW, and I know that it certainly had to bring about some change, but I don't know what really changed in the WWF. Talk to me about that first year, sort of post Russo, if that makes sense.
And this is with the benefit of hindsight, had no effect on the business whatsoever. Zero. So, just, we kept going, you know, nobody missed a beat, and you do your job. You put your head down, you do your job, and you go. So just somebody that wasn't there. And I don't think that him leaving, you know, hurt us at all. Like, not even, just didn't. You could take away Steve Austin. Did that hurt us?
Yeah.
Did it?
Well, I see what you're saying. The idea is the show goes on, and the
show goes on.
That's what I wanted to sort of get to, because I know that he's going to hear this, and a lot of his fans and supporters and friends will hear this. And I know what you're trying to say is not meant to be ugly or mean spirited or disrespectful.
It is not, and it's not. You're
right.
You're correct. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a function of, hey man, business kept going when you left too. I mean, it is what it is. Like,
well, that hurt. No, seriously. I had that conversation with someone today when talking about different people and, oh, well, if they left, you know, how would that hurt us? I said, hey, when I was fired the first time, I thought, wow, this place it's going to be screwed up because of everything that I have in place, and I'm running it. By God, I was doing all that stuff. Didn't miss a beat, not a beat. Everybody did their jobs. I think that Vince was able to train people and everybody around him in that if somebody leaves, man, somebody else just replaces them. Or sometimes you find out, you know what? You really didn't need that person. So it's not meant mean-spirited. I said the exact same thing about myself today. And I would say it today. I leave today. Hey, man, I hope that they skip a beat, but it's going to move on. But when I say they'll skip a beat, I mean that for about half a day, they'll figure out who gets my office and, okay, now who's reporting to who, and that's it. It'll move on.
Coming off Survivor Series, Nitro draws the worst rating in the history of the show. There's an effort when Raw remains flat to try to spin some things, but it's a 5.01 rating collectively, a 7.4 share. This is the episode of Raw where it features the return of Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie's going to claim that she's trying to get pregnant with Hunter, and Austin just heels on her to the point where she's crying and the crowd is going nuts. Someone that over, like Austin was, and I know Stephanie's a heel. This is interesting because I don't think we would do this today. I don't think you could do this today, but fans were eating it up. I mean, they're going bananas for it. And little did we know, just a handful of months later, he's going to turn heel and they're all going to sort of be a part of this together. This is a march towards a game-changing WrestleMania finish, is it not?
It is. And there were, you know, look, we're still ahead of WrestleMania. So there were still a lot of different things that we were looking at to do and or not to do. So that one wasn't as etched in stone for the aftermath.
Right.
Look, the match itself, the finish itself, all that was etched in stone as you want to get. So it is crazy. And the things that we were able to do 23 years ago, no, you couldn't do them today. And if you look at them through 2023 goggles, oh my God, how can you do that? Well, you know what, man? Go get in your time machine and go back and go live in that era.
Yeah.
And you'll understand. It's the same thing as I watch 1988, 89 with Hulk and Sherry Martel.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the things, that we did that were accepted, and audience cheered like crazy to see Sherry get an atomic drop or something like that. It was always interesting. You never hit a woman ever, but you were able to do things to her. Give her an atomic drop. She takes her own bump, different things like that. Spanking her. Those were things that it was viewed as entertainment and people knew it. And she was a bad guy. She was a bad person. So she deserved it. And that was society in the 80s. It was a lot different. I watch a lot of MeTV, Alfred Hitchcock, and I just watched something the other night, and the female in the show said something, and the guy just reached across and slapped her across the face. And I'm thinking, how could you do that? And she came back and cried, and it was like, that was 1950s, 1960s. It was a different time. And thank God our society has grown to the point that, hey, you know what, man? No, that's not acceptable. And I wish it would grow to the point of having people say, no, it's not acceptable, and I'm going to do something about it. I wish more people did that. But it was different. It was different.
Let's talk a little bit about The Rock. I wanted to ask you about this because Triple H, is going to get dropped in that car, and Rikishi is going to bonsai drop The Rock 4 times on the pay-per-view. They're both on Raw the next night. Like, everything's fine. And
it's a miracle.
I understand there's suspension of disbelief in wrestling, but when do you remember that shift happening? I mean, once upon a time, if Earthquake sat on Hulk Hogan, boy, he's out and we need your cards and letters. And now it can happen to The Rock 4 times and see you tomorrow night. I mean, I get we're trying to answer the demand of TV. We're trying to keep these ratings high. We're trying to make fans happy. I understand all that. And also know, hey, suspension of disbelief, creative license is wrestling, but there had to be a paradigm shift, at least internally, where it's like, hey, you know what? That shit doesn't matter anymore. Let's do what's good for tonight. When does that happen?
Yeah, right about here.
Okay. Okay.
Really and truly. And I'll never forget when the car went over and we're standing there, and it was a little chilly outside. And Paul had heard the creative for the next day. He looks at Vince and goes, how do we do what we want to do tomorrow? Vince just said, it's a miracle. And I'm looking at him going, yeah, I tell you, it's a miracle. So we had a lot of miracles during that time. It was suspension of disbelief.
Yes.
It was a big suspension of disbelief. And I think that, and then at the same time, you can break someone's leg and they're only out for 3 weeks and come back and woohoo.
Yeah. It's a little
times were changing.
They are. They're not changes for the Undertaker though. Eric and Kurt Angle are going to come out to celebrate, and the Undertaker is going to come out and choke slam Eric, and then Kurt off the stage through a table. Why didn't we see more of Eric? I mean, was this just always designed to be a one-off? Is there an alternate universe where he gets a bigger role and becomes a more permanent part of the cast?
We tried. We sent Eric to OVW for a little bit, and he just didn't have it.
I got you. Do you think he was judged unfairly? Like when your brother's Kurt Angle, I mean, you're never going to be as good, right?
True. But if his brother was,
It wasn't close, you're saying. I got you.
Wasn't close.
I understand.
It wasn't close. And again, a great guy and a tremendous athlete, but not for this business.
Mick Foley, Edge, and Christian have their usual comedy segment in the back. It turns into Mick making a match between Edge and Christian, taking on The Undertaker in a 2-on-1 match. He dispenses of these two in under 3 minutes. And Meltzer would say, by this point, I don't think it was possible for one of the tippity top guys to elevate anyone in the ring. Well, I think they did just fine. The main event is Austin beating Benoit with the stunner. And this is the first real wrestling match Steve has back in the ring, coming off of that neck surgery from a year prior. He's taking German.
He works with Benoit.
Yeah. With German suplexes and back suplexes. Like, I don't know if I'd be doing that, but Steve did. It goes over 8 minutes. Was this his, like, hey, let's get in the deep water and see what we can do sort of thing?
I think there was a trust factor there with Benoit. And there was, you know, for Steve loves wrestling, man. By the way, happy belated birthday to Steve. His birthday was yesterday, sent him a nice note. It was, Steve loved to wrestle. Steve would rather go out and have a 30-minute match and go all over the place than, you know, stomp and kick and do all the Stone Cold stuff. But all the Stone Cold stuff is what made him. And people lose sight of the fact that Steve Austin was one of the best ever in the ring. He could do it all. And this was a way of Steve testing himself, putting himself through the test and say, okay, man, bring it. And he trusted Benoit. And if there was anybody that, it's like, I would trust Undertaker with my body. I would, whatever Undertaker said he wanted to do, okay, you got me. I think I would do the same thing with Benoit too. Because I know he wouldn't, you know, he's got it. There's a lot of guys I wouldn't though.
At Smackdown, Billy Gunn, he's the one, is going to win the Intercontinental title from Eddie Guerrero as a singles push is getting heated up here for Billy Gunn. And this is not like the 1999 push that The Rock killed at SummerSlam. This is the one. We saw so many versions of Billy Gunn. We saw him as part of the Smoking Guns, and then we saw him as Rockabilly, and then we saw him as part of the New Age Outlaws, and then he's going to be Mr. Ass. And the one, what'd you think of the one?
Conrad, till you just said the one, Billy Gunn. If that was on a quiz, I'd have missed it.
Really?
I really don't recall it. Did it work?
Well, probably not.
No, it didn't. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that sometimes we look at someone and the individual themselves that has all the tools and has everything there for you. I need an assistant. Has everyone there for you. It's like Billy had the tools, man. You look at Billy Gunn, my God, he's a Greek god still to this day. He's got all the tools, can do anything, but for whatever reason, when push comes to shove, it's just not there. And in the tag team with Road Dogg, I'll say the same thing about Road Dogg. I think that Dog was much better as a tag team wrestler.
He preferred it.
And you put those two guys together and they made magic together. You take them apart, and now part of that illusion is exposed. So, Mr. Ass, all that shit, just was what it was and didn't do a lot for him, I don't think. But yet Billy Gunn, DX, New Age Outlaws, I thought he fit, and I thought that was a lot of fun and was a good character for him. Like I said, I don't even remember the one.
Well, do you remember this Thanksgiving segment where we've got a cast of characters to try to help Jim Ross sell his new cookbook? This is a WWE program, of course, and a WWE book. So we've got Mick Foley dressed up as a pilgrim, Deborah dressed up as a Native American, Too Cool is there, and we're all doing this to promote JR's new cookbook. My goodness. I know I don't know. I just never imagined as a kid, hey, one day they're going to have wrestling cookbooks, but they did. And it worked. What do you think of this?
The cookbook or the spot?
The segment and the cookbook. Shit, do both.
I always enjoy food fights. I always enjoy things that turn into mayhem and things of that nature. I thought the cookbook was an awesome idea. Jim Ross found all these recipes from his grandmother that he had enjoyed as a child and felt that they should be shared. And his wife, Jan, unbelievable in the kitchen. You could give her like any 3 ingredients. I mean, it doesn't matter. And she would make it outstanding. And then, and by the way, that only had 2.5 calories in it and is very healthy for you. And now you're going to grow 8 feet. Jan was a unbelievable cook. So yeah, they had these recipes and Jim thought it'd be a cool idea to have a cookbook. I thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah.
The Brother Love, recipe is not really my recipe. I did submit a couple recipes, but I think I gave them to somebody else.
Well, that's not fair.
It's not. No, because I've never made them damn chocolate brownie things ever. And I wouldn't even try it out of spite.
I love you for that.
Yeah.
RT's
I did a chocolate pie that was the greatest pie in the entire world. It's still every Thanksgiving and Christmas we have it. And they didn't put it in there. And I hate them for it. I hate their guts for it. I want them all. No.
We're talking about you hate WWE's guts? Or the book?
No.
People? The book people?
Jim. I want Jim. I'm holding Jim personally responsible. It was his name on the book. No, the editors, and they were just trying to make everybody happy and give everybody a little something.
Will you post a picture and a recipe for your chocolate pie for Christmas?
No, I will not.
Why
I will
not?
not share it with the rest of the world. I am going to keep it.
All right.
Hey, here's the thing. This is the best part. Is so this chocolate pie, best pie in the world, and all of the wives in my family all like got the recipe from my mom. But my mom did shit like leave out ingredients sometimes.
Okay.
Now, my brother Ken's wife got an actual picture of the recipe, the real recipe. By the time it got down to my wife, it was, she left out the vanilla. She had like, instead of 2 eggs, she had 1. Shit like that. And the other great story about my mother, since it's Christmas time, the first Christmas when we had in Houston, and I had my children there, and my mom gives us gifts to take back for Christmas and everything, and I'm loading them in the car, and I happen to look at them. I go, huh, to Bruce, from mom and dad. Then I go to the boy, because I have twins, a boy and a girl. One was to the boy. The other one was to the girl. And the last and the best one was to the wife. Yeah, it was great. It was great. But yeah, it was good pie, man. I like pie. You like pie? You like chocolate pie?
I'd like to have your recipe, but you won't share it.
I will share the recipe with you as long as you promise never, ever, 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 ever to pass it on.
Can I let my mom make it?
She's got to have patience. I'd let Megan make it, because I think Megan would have the patience to do it the correct way.
Respectfully, you've taken a look at my mom and you've taken a look at Megan, and you think Megan should cook it instead of my mom.
Okay.
RTC comes out and says that everyone in America watching wrestling are scumbags for not spending time with their families, and that Road Dogg and K-Quick's rapping should be banned. The transition of Road Dogg to teaming with Ron Killings. We talked a little bit about Billy Gunn earlier. His former tag team partner Road Dogg going to be with Ron Killings as K-Quick here. What'd you think of that act and presentation? Because we know the New Age Outlaws was just hotter than anything possible. I mean, nobody could have ever predicted their success. Like, they exceeded all expectations, and I enjoyed this, I guess, but it wasn't quite the same. Why
I liked it. Not a lot.
I mean, the New Age Outlaw thing, it was working, and then we're going to do something different. I know wrestling fans want different, but what was missing in the Road Dogg K-Quick thing? Why didn't it take off the way the New Age Outlaws had?
I don't know, because they clicked.
Yes, they're friends. You can tell it just comes off the screen.
I mean, they clicked, and they were good together, man. And I think that the opportunities they had on the music side of things could have been off the charts as well. But I don't know. That one perplexed me, because you had charisma out the yin yang with that, and they were good. But just I think at that time, more than anything, I think that they were both probably in their own heads a little too much.
Okay.
And that's probably what did it.
We got Kurt Angle coming out wearing a neck brace because of what happened on Raw. The Undertaker's going to come out and attack him. Edge and Christian are going to come out. Undertaker basically swats them away as well. The WWF and Headline Media Group make a deal to broadcast Smackdown, the syndicated show Metal, and the XFL in Canada on Score Television. Is this the first time you can remember that the WWF and the XFL had their media rights sort of tied together? I don't remember reading about that before.
Well, the fact that was the only XFL.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah.
It was Canada. And so for Canada, it was different, and they were looking for, rights. And I think that throwing in the XFL was kind of like a bonus, because nobody knew what to expect there. And that was a bonus for them to be able to, here, and we're going to give you this brand new thing. But that was the first time. And just, I think it's a smart move, to be able to, as you and I've done many times, is like, but wait, there's more. You can get this too, to give something added value.
I don't know why, but it just, it still boggles my mind a little bit to think up until this point, SmackDown was not airing in Canada. Like that, to me, Canada's such a big part of the company. Like, what do you mean there's a show they don't see?
Yeah, because it was on UPN.
Yeah. So ECW, as stated earlier, is falling apart just days before a pay-per-view to the point that Paul Heyman was even hesitant to announce a card because he didn't know who would appear. Dave Meltzer wrote at the time, Heyman has said he will give some of his contracted wrestlers the right to renegotiate with either WWF or WCW. At press time, the latest wrestler expected to leave imminently is Jerry Lynn, who the WWF had expressed interest in. At press time, WWF officials have made it clear they won't negotiate with any ECW talent without Heyman's blessing, not wanting to hurt him in his struggle for survival. And they had not heard about Heyman allowing the WWF to sign Lynn or anyone else directly, but had heard from intermediaries that Heyman wouldn't stand in Lynn's way. There'd been no serious negotiations with Lynn, although they're expected to talk at the Smackdown show in Minneapolis on September 28th. The expectation is they could make a deal for Lynn, perhaps design it with a signing bonus to help Lynn out of his pressing financial problems. Even though Heyman is behind paying everyone, it is believed only Rob Van Dam has filed an official contract breach, and his status in the company remains questionable. You hate to hear about any talent and any wrestling company struggling. I know you've been friends with Paul for a long time. It's clear that, you know, his finances are not in order. And as a result, it's just rolled downhill and the entire organization is hurting. Do you remember someone in the office being particularly high on Jerry Lynn at the time, thinking, hey, he's the guy we need?
No.
Where does this report come from, do you think?
Probably Jerry. I mean, I don't know. I've worked with Jerry for the first time in, what was that thing? Global Wrestling, and thought that Jerry Lynn was one of those hidden treasures.
Yes.
That, like, why the hell isn't he on somebody else's roster making some big money? I think that Jerry was extraordinarily talented. I mean, he was very good, but to say that anybody was, we got to have Jerry Lynn, no, that was not the case. If Jerry Lynn were available and Jerry wanted to come in, you know, please, open the door wide and say welcome. But at least from my standpoint, no, I don't remember that. I had, you know, practically, realistically, between Jim Ross and I, we probably had every single person on the ECW roster calling us looking for work. Everyone. There was not a talent on their roster that wasn't calling looking for a job. Everyone, long before Paul made this speech. Was that
the edict from Vince though? Don't talk to him. Let Paul lead the way.
No, we talked to him, but the issue was that we would talk to Paul. And, you know, it's like, look, we had a deal with Paul. We kept him afloat for a long time. It's not a secret. And it became like, Paul, Jerry Lynn wants to leave. I'm using this as a hypothetical. I need him for this card. Okay. Well, is there a time that he wants to go? Can you give me a time frame that you can use him up and cut him loose? Well, we've got to get through November to remember, December to forget, January is hopeful. But, you know, it's like, and you can't tell your talent one thing, tell me one thing, and it was counterproductive in a lot of ways. But Paul wasn't paying the talent, and that was kind of a bigger issue with Vince, because Vince is saying, what are we doing? We're subsidizing them, but yet talent is leaving because they're not being paid. So, it created some issues. And I mean, but everybody from there was calling. And I would say that during the last 3 years of ECW, I can't think of a talent, with the exception of, I never spoke to Sabu, wanting out. Had feelers, but whether or not they were real or not, I have no idea, because I never spoke to him. But Tommy Dreamer, probably the only guy that, was ECW through and through, and Tommy was gonna see it through. So, to me, kudos to Tommy Dreamer, because Tommy knew it was a sinking ship.
Mm-hmm.
But Tommy had a loyalty, not just to Paul, but also to the company and to the talent, that he was going to do whatever it was that he could do to right that ship. Even when that ship, the nose was the only thing sticking out, Tommy was still thinking, okay, well, maybe we can do something. So yeah, man, it was, Paul would tell him one thing, but then do another. And you would say, okay, if guys can leave, then we want this guy. I need him for just 3 more spots. And then, and it just became ridiculous, but the writing was on the wall. And by the time we hit December, end of December, you knew that it was gone. So it didn't matter anymore.
Well, something that still matters is insurance, or so we thought. Stop sending money to big insurance companies that profit off of not paying your bills. Did you know that like 48 million claims on Obamacare last year were denied? That's 1/5 of claims that are going to get rejected. You want to take that chance? Health insurance sucks. It's confusing, expensive, and frustrating. But there is a better way. Welcome to the alternative. Crowd Health was created to get rid of the headaches of health insurance. For only $175 for an individual, or just $575 for a family of 4 or more, you'll get access to a community of people who are willing to help out in the event of an emergency. You'll also get telemedicine visits, discounted prescriptions, and more. All of this without doctors' networks getting in the way. Let Crowd Health help with your healthcare needs. You can get started today for just $99 per month for the first 3 months when you use the code WRESTLE to get the healthcare you deserve. Crowd Health is not insurance. Learn more at joincrowdhealth.com. Once again, the site is joincrowdhealth.com, and use the code WRESTLE to get started today for just $99 per month for the first 3 months. So listen, Bruce, in my research, I found something that I couldn't believe. Vince actually, I'm talking about Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He did an interview with the Pro Wrestling Torch. And in this interview with Wade Keller, he would discuss the roadblock to purchasing WCW. Viacom. Quote, originally Viacom gave us the green light and indicated to us that the price to us, in essence, would not be severe. So we began negotiations in earnest and good faith with the Turner people and had really good negotiations. And I have a good appreciation for that. Then, unfortunately, at the last minute, out of the clear blue, Viacom's price became astronomical. From there, everything broke down because it didn't make any sense for us to pursue that kind of give back. And he would go on to say, if it wasn't for that, the deal would have been made. Now, we know eventually the deal is made and it happens in March of 01. But do you remember hearing or thinking it might actually happen in late 2000? What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, it was discussed, but I don't think that there was anything. Stu Sachs, I think that's his name. No.
Stu Snyder?
Thank you. Stu Snyder was working on some of those different deals, and look, WCW was begging anybody to please just get it off their books. Like, hey, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, we'll give you Hanna-Barbera. So yeah, we had discussions with them, but I don't think it ever got any more than, by the time, when push comes to shove and it's nut cutting time, that, Viacom changed their mind and wanted to do other things.
We should, talk.
It's always great. You've heard it a million times. Hey, I'm starting a wrestling company. Everybody's going to have this. Everybody's going to have that. My God. And the bottom salary is going to be $3 million. We're paying everybody with, I was like, okay. I had a guy call me one time. I think you and I talked about this, and he was on a plane, so he only had a few minutes to talk. But he was telling me about his plan, and his plan was that he was going to have a show. And that show was going to go live every Friday night. 1 hour, and it would be simulcast across NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox. All 4 major broadcast network television would have this show simulcast live. First time ever. No one's ever done it. And the deal is done. We're starting, and he gave me a date and all that shit. Because, there was a time you're not in the business. You hear 1,000,001 different pitches of guys that have a little bit of money. They're going to start a wrestling company. And I said, tell you what, man, when you get that contract and you can show me that contract, make me an offer. Just make me an offer, because I'd love to see it. And I talked to him one other time, and then he just kind of disappeared. But the audacity of him.
Who believes that?
Who? Yes. How? Why? What the fuck? Other than the death of a major dignitary, the President of the United States, you're not going to get a simulcast. Come on. Across all 3, please. Never in a gazillion years. So, you would hear shit like that all the time. And yeah, it was sometimes during that shit, as Viacom's looking at it, they see, okay, hey, if you have that, we'll give you this. And then when it comes nut cutting time, oh no, we didn't mean that.
Right.
This is what we meant. You could make that.
Let's talk about the show here. The Hell in a Cell had really been established at Bad Blood back in October of 97, that fabulous match with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. And then of course, maybe more famously, the debut of Kane. But the following summer, man, it just went bananas with the craziness of Mick Foley and maybe you guys went back to the well a little too often. I mean, we would see it a few more times, including in what was supposed to be one of Mick's retirement matches. But now Armageddon, it's going to be a Hell in a Cell, and you're going to load it up with 6 guys, arguably the 6 top guys, or at least 6 of your top guys, in a gimmick match like a Hell in a Cell that I'd really only ever seen 2 guys in it. Like, talk to me about how that happens? Because normally I would think, hey, on a big card like this, we want to sprinkle that talent throughout the card. We're just throwing like everything at the main event and in a big time, quote unquote, gimmick match, like a Hell in a Cell. What's the thinking? And what do you remember when you first heard that?
Star power. Well, when I first heard it, I was not in favor of it. I wasn't in favor of it for that reason, is that you had all your talent wrapped up in one match. And you've got to serve a lot of masters when you do that. And sometimes, look, you can get away with it. You know, you have a Royal Rumble. That's a logical use of 30 of your top talent. The Survivor Series, there's ways to do that. Especially like with war games. Take all your top talent, put them in one match and make it work. I just felt it was too much. It was putting all our eggs in one basket, or at least our best eggs.
With Stephanie's return to TV and she's back with Triple H, I want to bring up, it feels like that whole Kurt, Stephanie, Hunter love triangle storyline ends without much of a payoff. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't think that, I really don't think that Hunter really wanted to do it. I don't think that Kurt really, Kurt really wanted to do it. I think Stephanie did. I think all of us did. I thought it was a cool storyline that everybody can understand. And it was just so simple, so simple for Steph to fall for Kurt. And now you've got this huge controversy. Everybody can pretty much relate to that. But I don't think that Paul nor Kurt were really in favor of it. Look, man, Kurt's married. I don't think Paul and Steph were married yet, but no, it's 02. But it was still not crazy about it. You also have to understand, I say this all the time too, is you're dealing with real people.
Right.
You're dealing with real people with real life.
And real emotions and real families and.
Right. And, Kurt was dealing with that and trying to make his life a little bit easier.
I understand. So Billy Gunn is wrapped up with the Radicals. He's going to pin Eddie again on Raw to retain the title after he overcomes Malenko and Saturn. But Benoit comes in and lays him out. We would also see Dean Malenko hitting on Lita. He's being pushed into a ladies' man role. Do you think this is being written for comedy? I mean, does Vince enjoy this sort of love triangle thing? I mean, when we think of Dean Malenko, we think of, hey man, the fundamentals, the basics of a great match. I mean, one of the greatest technical wrestlers that ever lived. But a love story triangle, is this Vince just saying, hey, this is what we do here? Yeah, let's add a little bit to that presentation.
I mean, yeah, it's drama. It's telling stories. And you look at Dean. Dean's a good-looking guy.
Oh, yeah.
Handsome man.
Handsome.
Looks like a ladies' man. Why wouldn't he hit on women? So that was just to add another dimension. Guy of 1,000 holds. Whoop-de-doo.
Right. You need some sports entertainment, brother.
Yes. Give him a personality. And Malenko, again, is one of those guys that out of the ring,
yeah,
you can't stop laughing.
Right.
He is a quick wit. He is dry as can be. Great dry humor. And frankly, very lovable.
Right.
I think that if Dean weren't married, and you could buy Dean being a ladies' man and just being great at it. That was the reason. That was just to give Dean more more entertainment.
Well, let's talk about, when you take a look at this roster towards the end of 2000, just how loaded you guys are. I mean, we know about Rock and Austin and all that, but I'm saying you got the Radicals and Jericho and Edge and Christian and the Hardys and the Dudleys. This is all, respectfully, the mid card. I mean, that's how loaded this is. And the main event from Raw in Iowa would have Austin and Edge squaring off for the WWF title. This is going to be his first singles title match back. And it's a Monday Night Raw paper. It's a Monday Night Raw show instead of a pay-per-view. I mean, I understand, what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get him up and going and get these ratings as high as we can and get some momentum and yeah. But once upon a time, it does feel like, hey man, when you got a big star coming back like this, his first shot at the title, we're going to hold off and do that on the pay-per-view. I guess there's more than one way to get there though, because we see Austin win by DQ when Triple H makes his return. Remember now, he was killed 8 days earlier and now he's back. Angle's going to fade into the background. Hunter's going to destroy Austin. And I can't help but wonder, with the benefit of hindsight, it feels like Kurt Angle, while he's the champ, it doesn't feel like the office or the presentation is quite like he's on the same level as Rock, Hunter, and Austin. There's been a few champions over the years like that where, okay, you've got the belt and you're the wink, wink, you're the champion, but you're not necessarily the top guy. Do you think that was the case here for Kurt Angle?
I don't think Kurt was any of those guys. I don't think Kurt was close to any of those guys. You got to understand, man, 2000, Kurt is 4 years removed from the Olympics.
He's basically a rookie still.
Training until 2 years before that.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, a phenomenal, probably one of the best ever, to pick it up as quickly as he did, and was a true mega star. But he wasn't on the same level as those other guys.
Right.
Not at that time. He was going to be there, and he got there.
Yeah, he did.
But at that point in time, he just wasn't. Now, putting that championship on him was another step in that direction to get Kurt to where you wanted him to be, and to be that guy and to be on that same level. But just being in the ring with The Rock and Steve doesn't make you at that same level.
All right, listen up. We've got great news. We're excited to announce a new affiliate partnership with Fanatics and the WWE Shop. It's an easy way to support your favorite podcasts. Shop official WWE gear and apparel by using our special URL, shopwrestlingmerch.com. That's shopwrestlingmerch.com. Or if you're watching along with us on YouTube, just hit that QR code that's up on the screen right now and check out the description below for the link. We'll have it up on all of our socials as well. But you can shop with confidence for your favorite WWE superstar. Tees, hoodies, caps, championship belts, and more with the WWE Shop. And don't forget to use our special link, shopwrestlingmerch.com. Not only do we get some great deals and some great swag, but it's also an easy way to support the show. That's shopwrestlingmerch.com. Let's talk about Smackdown. That's where it's announced there's going to be 6 men in this Hell in a Cell for the WWF Championship. The 6 men are Kurt Angle, the world champion, Triple H, fresh off the return, The Undertaker, just destroying everybody, The Rock, who got double crossed, I suppose, by Rikishi, who ran over Austin with a car.
He did it for The Rock, brother.
And Stone Cold. I've heard people use terms to describe these multi-man matches like this, and they aren't necessarily radio friendly. From a production standpoint,
Clusterfuck is not radio friendly.
does it represent the same challenge from a production standpoint? I mean, I know the guys call it a clusterfuck because you got so much going on and everybody's trying to do their stuff, but also stay out of everybody else's way. From a production standpoint, sometimes like when you've got a battle royal, or like when WCW used to do those 3-ring battle royals, there's so much going on. It's hard to really keep up with it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you cover? Yes, it's challenging at best.
And Meltzer,
And camera 2 is your friend because it's post to post.
Meltzer would point out that there is a history with the Hell in a Cell at this point, and there is probably an expectation in the minds of fans. And I think that expectation probably only grew as time went on. But did you feel like in 2000 here, we've sort of conditioned the fans to be looking for and expecting a big bump? I mean, we saw the one with Hunter and Cactus. Who could forget the one with Mick Foley or Mankind as it was, and The Undertaker? And even before that, the very first one, it's not on top, but still the big bump from Shawn through the table. Do you just know, hey, if we're doing a Hell in a Cell, somebody's got to take a big bump? Is that just understood at this point, do you think?
It was understood with the talent.
Yeah.
Wasn't understood with me. I hated it.
Unnecessary risk.
Mick did his bump. Great. Wasn't wild about that. But, that there were a lot of safety precautions put in. But man, to me, it was, and even with the safety precautions, Nick gets all of his teeth knocked out. Didn't work like it was supposed to. A lot of different things that can go wrong. And I cringe I just cringe every time that somebody tries to one up. Well, this has never been done. Well,
Right.
There's a reason it's never been done. And, I didn't always have the most confidence in some of the folks that would set things up like that. And that worried me as well. But I think that we should have stopped it and made the Hell in a Cell be what the Hell in a Cell should have been. And that's a structure that takes place inside the cell. Otherwise,
You mean a match inside the structure?
a match inside the cell, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything takes place inside the cell.
Right. RTC would defeat Road Dogg and K-Quick in a tag title match, and Meltzer would say he doesn't understand the constant decision to beat the new guy. The WWF heads to the UK to run the Rebellion show from Sheffield. This is a UK only pay-per-view. Hunter has a bad back and hip, so he's pulled from the show. And it's also reported that Dynamite Kid was backstage. Were you at this show? Did you see Dynamite? Would this have been the first time you saw him in a long time?
God, I don't really remember. I vaguely remember, yes, but I don't recall much more other than seeing him and saying hello.
Right. The show is a huge success. It's a sellout, $536,000 and change at the gate. The only notable finish was William Regal, who was being cheered huge here, even though they're trying to turn him, loses to Crash Holly and drops the title in a finish that Meltzer would describe as confusion, since Regal would leave with the belt. What the hell happened here? I mean, it does feel weird to have Regal drop the title in England to Crash, but then he leaves with the belt. What do you make of this? What do you remember?
It's his belt.
He didn't lose it?
He'd keep his pants up.
Oh God. Listen to you, Vince.
Shit. I don't know. It was make the audience happy.
Well, speaking of Vince, he returns to Raw. The ratings are actually down just a little bit, but the show ends with Vince taking a stunner from Austin, a rock bottom from The Rock, and a last ride from The Undertaker. That's right. Vince took all three of these finishes in the ring: a stunner, a rock bottom, and a last ride. I would not want to take that last ride. And this isn't even the highest rated segment on the show. It's Billy Gunn taking on Val Venus and Dean Malenko taking on Lita. That to me is, I mean, do you remember? Oh, look at
That's my nurse. My nurse is changing my ice right now.
Well, let's get a good shot at Kane. We need something good looking on the show. Show us your nipples, Kane.
That's it. No,
We
you only get to see. No, you saw his nipples. That's it.
Damn it. I was trying to get an OnlyFans with Brother Love's son.
No.
Hey, did you see that the other Brother Love has got some legal problems?
I don't know that there is any other Brother Love. There's only one Brother Love, and I've got it trademarked, and you're looking at it.
Well,
Anybody else wants to call himself Brother Love, Diddy, Pity, whatever his name is? I don't care. He ain't Brother Love.
by the way, if you just wanted to pursue that right now, it'd get a lot of headlines.
What's that?
Forcing them to change the name. Like, everybody's piling on P. Diddy these days. Like, they say that he ordered the hit on Biggie. They say that, or I guess he settled a lawsuit with Cassie after she had all kinds of crazy stuff. And I guess there's a couple more, and lots of rumor and innuendo out there. Now might be your chance. Get some of that Puff Daddy rub, or cash, or both.
Man, we met old Puffy when Puffy was just old Puff Daddy.
Yep.
And he couldn't have been kinder and nicer and just a gentleman. And we worked with him before, and always found him to be nothing but a gentleman, man. And everybody goes through hard times, but he ain't Brother Love.
No, he's not. And I know you've been busy doing other things, but you should read into that. A lot of craziness going on there. And I think it's crazy too when I look back at these ratings, and I think the Vince, Rock, Austin segment is not the highest rated. It's Billy Gunn and Val Venus and Dean Malenko and Lita. But hey, it is what it is. The Undertaker is pinned clean by Rikishi in the opener. I guess we're trying to further establish him as a top guy and a main event player. And given what I believe to be their real life relationship, I'm sure Undertaker had no problems doing this, right?
What happened?
Rikishi beat the Undertaker clean.
That bastard.
Right?
Can't do that.
Speaking of things you can't do, we've actually got a promo here from The Rock that I want to play and let you get your reaction here, Bruce.
And even if The Rock has got to beat Kurt Angle, which means I'm going to drink a big glass of milk, eat some chocolate chip cookies, and then maybe I'll take 3 Viagra. Or maybe The Rock is going to face Rikishi. Beat Rikishi. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did it. And one more thing. This Sunday night at Armageddon, The Rock is going to do all he can to win the WWF title.
Bruce, in a promo like that, how much of that is Rock just freestyling? And how much of that is something that we're going to work out ahead of time with the team? I mean, it's a fabulous, memorable segment. Lots of stuff in there you couldn't do.
It's just Rock, man. I mean, look, I'm sure you worked with the writer, probably Brian, and put that together. But I would say that, 90% is The Rock coming up with a lot of that stuff. And he did do, he was very collaborative in working out that stuff. Of course, none of that could air in
right
today's society. So
when that's happening, he's running through the guys and sort of poking fun. And that's what promos are about. I get that. But he was so good at it. Do you remember anybody taking it personally?
I'm sure a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that, Hunter definitely didn't, and, wasn't crazy about that at the time. I think that, doing stuff, sometimes Undertaker would be, hey, brother, easy a little bit. And Steve, look, here's the thing. If you can rile the boys, then you can rile the audience. So that's a good thing.
Edge and Christian are going to defeat K-Quick and Road Dogg. And they even rap before the match to make fun of Dogg and Quick. Maybe not the best sign. Jesse Ventura does an XFL promo to help promote the league. And given what we know is in the rearview mirror of this company, it was still a little weird to see Jesse. I mean, I know he did the referee at SummerSlam thing before, but it still was always odd when Jesse would come back and do something. At least for me. Was it weird for you?
Not really. Jesse's Jesse, man. Jesse's one of the boys. Jesse can put his suit on and be the governor. Jesse can put his conspiracy hat on and be the conspiracy guy. Jesse can do all those things. To me, Jesse's just Jesse. And people look at the conspiracy stuff and they think, oh, that's all an act and that's all that. Man, I produced Jesse in 1987 until he left in 90, whatever it was. And those were the conversations that we had every single week when he came in. He and Kerwin Silfies would get into politics, and Jesse would go through all of his conspiracies and, you know, why Barack Obama killed JFK, but he did it with a 45, with a Colt 45, and you don't know who Barack Obama is, but soon people will know. You know, shit like that. It was that was just Jesse, man, and Jesse's Jesse. Jesse speaks his mind, always has, and is an entertaining son of a bitch. To me, it was just Jesse. You know, Governor Ventura, all the other shit. He was just Jesse. Jesse was always nice to me, and don't really have a bad thing to say about Jesse. You just gotta, you have to accept people for what they are and how they are. And Jesse was always super nice to me and very, very respectful and fine. But I could see where, and even when Jesse would disagree, he would disagree in a way that he wouldn't shout at you. He would just overload you and never give you another. Once you gave Jesse the in, you never got in again. He would overload you with shit until you finally just tapped out. So, okay, Jesse, whatever.
By the way, go out of your way to check out our XFL episode over in the archives at somethingtowrestle.com. If you haven't heard it, even Meltzer, who isn't always Bruce's best friend, was very positive on that episode. Let's talk about something Dave wrote in the Observer about China.
What Meltzer said about what episode?
He liked the XFL episode. He said it was, it covered it pretty well, what was going on with the league and all that jazz.
So Meltzer listens to our shit.
Well, I don't think he listens all the time, but I mean, I'm sure
he can learn something.
Goodness gracious. Will you stop?
What? No, you don't think he can learn something?
Everybody can learn something, but you could learn something from reading the Observer too.
No, that will never happen.
You don't think you could learn anything from the Observer?
What? Just that he's a liar?
Have you ever read one of his obituaries?
Nope.
I think you'd like it.
Don't care. Don't like him.
All right. Well, thanks for that information. We didn't know that. We didn't know where you stood on him. Now we know.
Really?
We weren't.
Well, let's talk. Hey, I'll talk about it.
No, we're good. Billy Gunn goes to a no contest with Val Venus for the IC title, and Meltzer would write, China is already back with Venus. The idea last week was to split them up, but I guess they had no ideas for China, and they have to keep her in a prominent role with her book coming out and her boyfriend running the show, and her celebrity status in the company. Ivory kept interfering. China got involved. Ivory attacked China after the finish, and China no-sold and power slammed her. Venus clotheslined China's head off her body and laid out Gunn while Ivory pounded on China. It does feel like at different times, China and Billy Gunn were sort of on again, off again. We know eventually, there's going to be some real life backstage changes in China's life. I don't think that was necessarily the case here just yet, but did you feel like at this point, hey, maybe, cause she's kind of, certainly an innovator, with the way women's wrestling is looked at and approached and the way women in wrestling are positioned. I agree with all of that. But I did feel like once she started mixing it up with the guys, it's kind of like, where do you go from there? Is that the way you felt in creative at the time?
I did. I thought it was tough because there's only so much you can do that is going to be believable for the audience. And she was a phenom. She was an unbelievable talent. But to make her special, you have to keep her special in her own lane. And as soon as you bring her over to the other side, then it's like, okay, well, what you gonna do with Steve? What you gonna do with Undertaker? What you gonna do with Rock? That's tough. That's a tough place to be.
The story on Monday Night Raw is that Vince is back and he's trying to talk everyone out of going into this Hell in a Cell match because it's dangerous, and he's concerned that he might lose one of his main draws on the card if one of these guys gets hurt. And Meltzer would even be complimentary and say that's a pretty clever idea to garner interest in the match, that even the promoter doesn't want you to do it because it's too dangerous. That's good thinking. Regal regains the European title over Crash on Raw and then put Molly Holly in the stretch to set up a title defense against Bob Holly at the pay-per-view. What do you think Bob Holly's strategy was for his match with William Regal for the European title?
How about I beat him for the title?
And then what?
I beat everybody else.
Checks out. Vince is taken out by all the baby faces on the show. They're all attacked by the heels and laid out at the end of the show. Smackdown is taped at Madison Square Garden. It's the 14th straight sellout at MSG. Got to be something that makes Vince McMahon and his whole family proud. Ashton Kutcher makes an appearance here with Edge and Christian to promote the new movie, Dude, Where's My Car? What'd you think of Dude, Where's My Car?
I thought it was horrible, but those guys were great.
Mick Foley is going to
they were super to work with, man. Sometimes you get guys that are there to promote something and it's like, yeah, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. They actually got involved in it and wanted to do more and were willing to do anything that was asked of them. They were true professionals and absolutely, they're just great to work with, man. That's always good.
Foley's going to suspend Rikishi and Hunter for their role in the attack on Raw, but they decide not to suspend Angle because he's going to be put in a 4-way with Taker, Rock, and Austin in the main event. Is Brian sort of the head writer on SmackDown at this point, or what do you recall?
No, this was Chris Kresge era.
Okay.
But, well, I say Chris Kresge era. You know, it was a team.
Sure.
And I think that Chris was the head of the team. Vince has and always will be, the lead writer.
Right.
During that time frame.
Well, hasn't always was. Foley and Vince argued. That teases a fight. And Foley says if he were to come out of retirement, it would be for a match with Vince. And that brings Linda out. And Foley said if anyone gets injured in a Hell in a Cell, then he will resign as a commissioner. And Vince starts going crazy after Linda backs up Foley and asks for a divorce. Linda starts crying as Vince tells her she was never good enough for him. And Linda leaves crying in the limo. At this point, was the plan Mick versus Vince at WrestleMania? It feels like that's where this is headed. Was that ever discussed?
No, it was Shane. I mean, it was to get to Shane.
I got you.
It was split the kids and get to Shane. Family affair.
The main event goes to a no decision when Rikishi and Hunter come out, of course, but the show ends with Angle hitting Rikishi with a title belt. Hunter laying out Angle with a chair shot. So Hunter stands tall, and JR would write in his Ross report online that the advance for WrestleMania at the Astrodome had 52,557 tickets sold.
Are you sure that's not just 2,500 tickets?
For 3,387,000. This is officially at this point in December, the first ever show in the history of the United States to top the $3 million mark. Now remember, the pay-per-view is in April, and here we are in December. We've already passed 3 million. Is this, I mean, this has to be a major accomplishment for the promotion. Was it business as usual, or did you guys pop a bottle of champagne? Do you remember high fives around the office or anything like that?
Please.
Not the case.
Why didn't it sell out in 30 minutes?
I forgot who we're talking about there.
Dude, yeah, it was Move On. And we did sell out. It's just we did sell out.
But if he sold out the Astrodome, he'd want to know why isn't there a 300,000 seat arena, right? Like it's just never ending, just bigger,
exactly.
Bigger. You know, you used to say an analogy about Vince a long time ago, and it makes me think about our friends at Blue Chew. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. And the process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. But here's the best part. It's all done online. So no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversation, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door, all in a discreet package. But there won't be anything discreet about your package. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. So discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. We got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code WRESTLE at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. The promo code is WRESTLE and you'll receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast. So,
what's that promo code again?
WRESTLE. Come on now. You know the one.
You know it.
Meltzer's going to report that Eric Angle has reached a verbal agreement to go full-time into wrestling. And the WWF is also releasing Tracy Smothers, Headbanger Thrasher, and Bobcat from Memphis. Smothers was the trainer down there. Man, he would have been so much fun on TV in the Attitude Era.
Wait a minute, go back to that picture.
Of Bobcat?
No, Smothers.
Yeah.
The hell's that from?
WCW. That's when he was part of the, what was it? The Young Pistols or the Wild Eyed Southern Boys or whatever the hell they were.
Wild Eyed Southern Boys. I bet it was.
JR is also going to write that there are plans to send some developmental talent. I'm sorry, Meltzer would write, there's plans to send some developmental talent to the IWA in Puerto Rico in early 2001. Talk to me about Puerto Rico as a developmental territory. Did that work? Was it a worthwhile experiment, and if not, why didn't it work?
It was not a developmental territory. It was Savio Vega had a promotion there, and Savio ran on a regular basis, and they ran shows on the island where guys could get work on a steady basis. So there were different talent that we could send down there. But they didn't have a training school. It wasn't someplace where we had trainers there that we monitored. However, when a guy, not even a finishing school, but it was kind of a mid place. The theory behind developmental at the time was to try to get people as much work as they could in different areas, because what sells in Huntsville, Alabama, it won't sell in Minneapolis. It's a different environment. You take Memphis, Tennessee. If you were to put the Memphis, Tennessee television show on in Houston, Texas, you would have killed the territory. You would have killed the town. It's just different. And probably the same thing, vice versa. So it wasn't really it was just a place that we could send talent. Hey, go spend 3 months in Puerto Rico.
Right.
Let them do it. Let them work a program with you. Let them do something with you and get you some time in the ring.
Let's talk a little bit about the pay-per-view buys here for this show. Meltzer would even speculate in the Observer that this is a tough sell because you've got 6 guys in the main event. And I think most people, when they think about like a WrestleMania poster or any sort of pay-per-view poster like this, they think about one big match, mano a mano. And we know in time that has very much changed. Now it's a collective effort. Half the damn roster's on the thing. But in this era, that wasn't really the way things were done. So Meltzer wasn't sure how it would sell. He was wrong. 465,000 buys here. It topped Survivor Series the prior month, which only did 400,000, which is still amazing. It also beat Armageddon 99 with Hunter and Vince on top. That did 371,000 buys. And I know what you're thinking to yourself, like, well, hey, if this is the December 2000 pay-per-view, that means they're competing with WCW for those pay-per-view dollars. How did Starrcade 2000 do? If Armageddon 2000 got 456,000 buys, what did WCW get for Starrcade with Goldberg and Bret Hart? 50,000.
There you go.
Yeah.
But you know, look, I think that it speaks to star power. You're a UFC fan?
Yeah.
Okay. Who was in the semifinal of the last UFC fight?
No,
Major fight.
You're exactly right. By the way, I misspoke. That was Starrcade 99. The main event was actually Scott Steiner and Sid Vicious. Still.
Yeah.
50,000.
Is that where Sid broke his leg?
I think that's the next month.
The next one? Ugh.
It was a bad one.
Vicious of that.
This show in Birmingham, you know, it's a pay-per-view juggernaut, man. 456,000. I was actually at this pay-per-view. It was in Birmingham, Alabama, from the BJCC, the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center. The advance is disappointing compared to every other WWF pay-per-view in the past 18 months. And to try to supplement ticket sales, they're being given out to season ticket holders for the Birmingham XFL team. Now, they're only 220 under capacity, according to Meltzer. That doesn't seem like a lot. It's not a lot. It's a rounding error at 220 seats, but it is further indicating that Alabama doesn't have any A-towns. The gate is still strong though. 500.
But it was also, to be fair, and it was also a push for the XFL too.
Yes.
And that was, hey, buy season tickets.
Get these wrestling tickets.
Get this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a double push. We knew that going in, and that was trying to get people talking about the XFL.
We know that the gate is strong, 572,000 and change, another 84 grand in merch sales. I don't think WWE has done a pay-per-view since. So I stand by we don't have any A-towns. On Sunday Night Heat, which is the pre-show here, like, the former free-for-all becomes Sunday Night Heat. Mick Foley is going to vow to retire as commissioner if somebody gets hurt in the Hell in a Cell match. And now let's jump into the show. The first match is Dean Malenko teaming up with his pals Perry Saturn and Eddie Guerrero. They're going to win an elimination match over Matt, Jeff Hardy, and Lita. And Meltzer liked it, I guess. He gave it 2.25 stars. And eventually we get down to Dean Malenko and Lita. Lita's going to do a moonsault block, a spinning head scissors, a DDT for Malenko to come back with a superplex off the top. That's right. He superplexed Lita. Picks her back up rather than pinning her. Gives her a Billy Robinson backbreaker. And finally finishing her off with the cloverleaf. And after the match, Lita said she knew she could beat him. So listen, we've talked about it before, and we even sort of alluded to, hey, once China started wrestling guys, where do we go from here? We're actually doing intergender wrestling here with someone besides China, and it's Lita.
Hate it.
Yeah, I knew you would. What did Vince think of this?
I don't know. I think it was just, more than anything, it was the intrigue, it's just not for me, man. Not a fan.
I know it's a little thing, but what the fuck do I know about wrestling? I got to ask. It's an elimination match and it only goes 8 minutes with all these talents.
Well,
Eddie,
damn, they got eliminated quick. Conrad, what do you want?
I'm just wondering, in hindsight, should it have not been an elimination match if we only have 8 minutes? It feels like, and I know we got to leave a lot of time for the main event. I get that, but an elimination match and you only got 8 minutes.
Look, I cannot control how quickly they make their eliminations. If they ain't on their game that day,
Okay.
then by God, then they should have been on their game by that day and just been prepared. But obviously they weren't prepared. There's quick eliminations. Maybe they thought that maybe Jeff wouldn't have got eliminated so quickly, but he did. But then, well, goddamn.
Next up is William Regal wrestling Hardcore Holly for the European title. Of course, William Regal.
This is how bad I hurt. I can't even do a good JR.
Hit us with a sassafras.
Sassafras.
So Regal retains the European title, and he's beating Hardcore Holly, who does get a big pop when it's announced that he's from Mobile, Alabama, like Forrest Gump. In the end, Raven runs in, gives Holly a DDT, and Regal pins him. It gets a 1.25 stars. Hey, cool for what it is, but only 4 minutes and 59 seconds. Next up, we've got another intergender match. Val Venus and China. They go 5 minutes and 2 seconds. And Meltzer said about 1 minute into this, I've seen enough intergender stuff to last a long time between this and the opener.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Between this and
the last 3 matches, the first 3 matches, it's a lot. So Val gets the win. Fisherman suplex gets it done. After the match, China goes to powerbomb Ivory. Venus stops her, lays her out with a doctor bomb, half a star. And Meltzer would say, Stephanie, seeming totally unconcerned that her parents' 34-year marriage was breaking up, was talking to her father about more pressing matters, stopping the main event. And there's a line about Stephanie here.
Gotta have priorities.
The Undertaker's going to do an interview. He's given the history of the Hell in a Cell, and Meltzer would say that this took forever. The interview nearly turned him heel. I guess it's set up that in every Hell in a Cell match, Undertaker has to throw someone off the top of the cage. One positive is that after the main event performance and the hype and the way it was built up after the fact on Raw is such a happening that the annual Hell in a Cell probably can stand along with the Royal Rumble as a gimmick match where the gimmick itself can draw a buy rate for the future. Even if this one doesn't deliver a big buy rate, and it did, the legend of this match being pushed so hard afterwards, combined with the legend of the Foley matches, probably can make it a modern day version of the Battle Royal in the 70s and the War Games in the 80s as one of those annual must-see events for the fans who may only buy 2 or 3 shows per year. I like that, that you're looking for that. And we would see eventually you guys would do that with the Money in the Bank. I mean, what started off as just a match on WrestleMania became its own pay-per-view. Was that the way you guys viewed this? Hey, this could be like another Royal Rumble level attraction for us?
No, we viewed it as the ultimate blow off.
Okay.
As if it gets to Hell in a Cell, there's no coming back from that. And that is how it was viewed.
Vince is going to come out to the ring here on the pay-per-view with Briscoe and Patterson and say he meant every word he said on SmackDown. He gave his life to the WWF fans and he wants a divorce. He's also concerned for the welfare of the wrestlers involved in the Cell match, and that match has been dismissed by Mick Foley. He said he's telling the fans, not just as a certified billionaire, but as a compassionate humanitarian, that the Hell in a Cell match should not happen. And he challenges Foley to step forward and cancel the match. And then he asks for 5 seconds of silence in honor of their endeavor to stop the match. And he asked the fans in the arena to stand in acknowledgement of his goal to stop the match. Of course, not enough to make Vince happy. Decent segment. I like the delivery here. He doesn't want to lose one of his drawing cards. Please don't get hurt. It's going to hurt my money. I like that.
Well, and then the heathens in Alabama did not adhere to the 5 seconds of silence. Heathens.
We wanted blood. We wanted somebody to get thrown off. Last Man Standing up next. It is a crazy match with Kane and Chris Jericho. 2 stars. Meltzer would say the finish was pretty corny and nobody could take it seriously. The idea is they're going to brawl to the back. Jericho's going to shove a setup wall of 20 barrels that have been welded together, theoretically onto Kane. Although with the nature of the way they fell, Kane was obviously protected. Kane never got up except a hand peeked through. For all we know, he's still under there. Listen, these crazy brawls all over the place, they're spectacles. But to the live crowd in the arena, they probably aren't loving this as much. They want to see them in front of you, not in the back. What did you think of these crazy brawls that take place backstage? We got all these fantastic stunts.
I look at, to me, the first that I can remember that we really did was Mick and Taker.
Yeah, SummerSlam 96.
Then we did the backlot brawl, which I really hated from this vantage point. It was WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I knew we were going to end the match in the ring. Same thing with Undertaker and Mick. But the most entertaining, part of that in the audience participation is so important in everything that we do, that you're doing things elsewhere without hearing any of that excitement, without hearing whether they're liking it or hating it or anything else that, in doses, I'm fine with it. But when it's 20 minutes backstage and you bought a ticket and you're watching a screen, I don't think that's as good.
It's not as good. Foley's interviewed here about the Hell in a Cell match, and Foley's saying that Vince McMahon may have been right about a lot of things in his career, but he's wrong about this because the people want to see the match. And Foley said that this match is all he thinks about, and he'll be really happy when it's over. There's even an appearance from Shawn Michaels on this show. He's at the WWF New York. Shawn is talking about the first Hell in a Cell match he was in and how he's worked with the other guys in this match, but he has no idea what's going to happen. And he says this match is tailor-made for The Undertaker, and they're showing highlights, of course, of King of the Ring 1998. The next match on the show is Edge and Christian regaining the tag straps in a 4-way over the Dudleys, Road Dogg, and K-Quick, and the champs. This was a real team. Bull Buchanan and the Good Father. Yeah, they were heels. I can't believe anybody liked
RTC.
Ready to change the channel? RTCC? I don't know. Let's talk about Edge and Christian here. They've seemingly done it all, a few years after this as tag teams, but they never really had, they were two guys put together, and we know their backstory, and they were once upon a time in the Brood and things like that. Was there ever a name considered like for them, like the Midnight Express or the Road Warriors? Or, something like that. Was there something, or was it always just, hey, it's two individual names, just throw the ampersand in the middle and we're good to go?
Yeah, it worked, didn't it?
I just think, way back when we had the British Bulldogs, the Hart Foundation, the Strike Force, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I get that, but you didn't bring in the Bulldogs separately.
Right.
So maybe that, I don't know, but to me it worked.
Oh, there's no doubt it worked. And maybe they're really one of the first tag teams I think of when I think of this guy and that guy. Everybody else had a team name. So maybe they're innovators in that regard, and I should just shake off my thinking. Chris Benoit's going to
shake it off. Shake it off. What's that song? Come on. What's the song?
I think there is a Taylor Swift song like that. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Silva, do you know that one?
Yeah. Shake it off. Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, we did get a suggestion not long ago that he do a song, and I forget exactly whose it was. But Silva knows, and he's going to play shy, but we're going to put him on the spot at the end. Naked Mind Yoga plus Pilates is a brand new fitness and wellness studio owned and founded by Brandi Rhodes. The physical studio in Roswell, Georgia offers yoga and Pilates reformer classes plus childcare for clients all under one roof. That is truly unique. And it makes Naked Mind the only yoga or Pilates studio of its kind in the entire Atlanta area. For those of you who aren't local to the Atlanta area, Naked Mind has an app, so you can get moving with yoga and mat Pilates classes led by Brandi and a hand-picked group of established yoga and Pilates instructors. It's a fantastic way to try yoga and get into a new fitness and wellness program. Yoga is good for the mind and the body, making it one of the leading wellness practices in the world today. You can find the Naked Mind app on Apple and Android devices and enjoy $10 off your first month or retail when you use the code CONRAD10. Naked Mind plus Pilates online at nakedmindstudio.com. That's nakedmindstudio.com.
Okay, good.
Hey,
You
so
better.
Chris Benoit won the Intercontinental title from Billy Gunn here in 10 minutes and 3 seconds. Meltzer would say Gunn stock really fell with this performance because if you can't have a good match with Benoit or Guerrero, well, Gunn didn't take any chops, probably because of his shoulder injury. The first half was pretty solid, although not a lot of heat. After what was supposed to be a tilt-a-whirl spot into a inside cradle, I believe, Gunn was blown and just dropped Benoit, who tried to flip himself around, and it was probably the worst looking spot you'll ever see in a Benoit match. Benoit went right to the crossface for the submission, 2 stars. I feel bad for Billy because it does feel like a lot of stop and start. Benoit wins the IC title here. In hindsight, was Billy just better suited to be a tag guy? I mean, you said earlier, you think,
I've always said that.
yeah,
And in this particular situation, zero chemistry.
yeah,
They had no chemistry at all. And look, Billy, would have asthma and come back and his inhaler before he went out. It was made for tag team wrestling. Some guys are just better at tag team wrestling. I think that Billy is great at tag team wrestling.
Next up, we've got Ivory retaining the women's title in a 3-way over Trish and Molly Holly. Unfortunately, it goes 2 minutes and 2 seconds. This is before we know women's wrestling is going to change. We had 3 very capable performers here. Molly Holly could wrestle. Trish Stratus could wrestle. Certainly Ivory could wrestle. I don't know. It's a shame. It is what it is. Finally, the Acolytes are going to be here. They're going to clean house and get rid of some of the riffraff. What did you think of women's wrestling in this era? Were we just not ready for the revolution?
Well, I think that what the hell's that noise? I think that the women's wrestling, we did have some really great talent, and the talent I don't think was spotlighted. I don't think that they're, especially early on before this, that the women were positioned in a place of, Sable was Sable, Sunny was Sunny, and they were put in roles that, look, Sunny wasn't a wrestler, Sable wasn't a wrestler.
Right.
But arguably 2 of the hottest acts on the show. So it was, I think it was, again, it just takes time. And you look back, and I always say, and I'll find it. Anybody finds it out there, please shoot me something. Let me know. I've always looked I love old time wrestling posters, and back in the day when they would hang placards and store windows, it would be, wrestling, and you'd have your main event. And if you had the women, it would be, plus women and midgets. And that was like the big draw because they were an attraction. It was almost as if they were treated. Now, I'm going back in the 50s and 60s here, folks. In the 70s, even a little bit, they were sideshow attractions. Hey, come watch women wrestle. It's like, in the Carney, come on in and watch, Medusa. She takes off all the veils. How many veils will she take off? And come see the midget man. It was a way to draw kids to go and see the midget wrestlers, and it was a way to draw men to come and see the women wrestle. And you now have that evolution that went through to Moolah, who went through that, and then Moolah trying to add a little bit more credibility to women wrestling by having, actual legitimate, tough women, made sure they were trained, made sure that they weren't a sideshow attraction. And then it got back to, oh, hey, here's the beautiful women. Look at the beautiful women over here. And you don't need to worry about the wrestling part of it because no one wants to see a beautiful woman wrestle. And then we, went on through that whole diva whole era. Guys, sorry, I'm in pain. You went through the diva era, and then now, it's just all shifted to just unbelievable athletes that can go and that are as exciting as the men. That there is, there's not the differential. Well, it's a women's match or it's a men's match. No, now it's just a match. Who are the competitors? Who are you putting in the match? That's an even better problem to have because, it's come a long way. And I think that, that the business has progressed in that and allowing our female talent to shine because they deserve to.
Let's talk about our main event. Kurt Angle is going to win and retain his title in a Hell in a Cell with Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold, The Undertaker, and Rikishi. They get plenty of time, 32 minutes and 14 seconds. It starts out as a battle royale in a cage with everyone paired up. Rock versus Rikishi, Angle versus Undertaker, and Triple H versus Austin for the first few minutes. Meltzer would say it's very well laid out and that nobody stepped on each other's spots. And they're trying to make sure it's not too cluttered like a battle royal can be. Triple H is going to turn on Rikishi and give him pedigree for a near fall. Austin's going to hit a stunner on Angle, but Undertaker makes the save. And Meltzer would say there was talk during the week of doing an injury angle with Triple H, which is why they kept teasing the idea of someone getting hurt and Foley resigning. But Triple H showed up and said he was feeling better and to not do the angle. Is that the way you remember that? That we were talking about, hey, somebody could get hurt. That was a way to give Hunter an out because he really did have a bad back and a bad hip.
Well, he did have bad back and bad hip, but not really. It was all pretty much all along was, okay, what's going to be the bump? What's going to be the holy shit moment? And everybody was trying to work to that, trying to figure that out. I don't think there was ever a time, to my knowledge, that there wasn't going to be some crazy bump, some holy shit moment.
Yeah. Well, Vince McMahon comes out with Patterson and Briscoe to tear down the cage with the truck, which, if you watched it, was a suspect at best looking truck based on what we saw in the back.
It's a truck.
It is, but there's some silliness in the back.
What silliness?
Foley is going to deck Patterson and Briscoe. Security immediately takes Vince McMahon out. They've got a junkyard like set here with beat up cars that everybody's taking bumps on. And Meltzer would say this was really good. The funny thing is this was almost exactly minus the even more dangerous spots. What WCW did with the junkyard battle royal where half the crew got hurt and it was so poorly lit, it came off as a disaster. That's not what's happening here though. Of course, Triple H is going to put Austin's head through a windshield. Lots of people are bleeding here. Triple H gives Rock a pedigree on the roof and there's more blood there. Undertaker is going to slam Angle on the hood of a car. Undertaker eventually is going to be bleeding because he gets hit with a chair. Just lots of blood everywhere. And Meltzer would say he thinks Angle, this might actually be his first time getting color in his entire career. Quote, I wonder if when he was getting that gold medal, he was thinking that 4 years later, he'd be a millionaire from it and be slicing open his forehead with a blade. Well, eventually Rikishi goes to the top. There's some brawling on the top. Finally, everyone but Rikishi and the Undertaker climbs down. And wouldn't you know it, Rikishi draws the short stick. He's the one who takes the bump backwards off the top of the cage into what Meltzer called the heavily padded back of the truck, filled with padding, a tarp, and a ton of wood shavings. It was basically an amusement park or gymnastic pit bump. But if they're going to do it, they pretty much promised, and the hype was there. It's a lot better to do it this way than someone getting a serious injury. Until fans tire of these bumps, they're going to be done. It's just a question of how to attempt to provide a plausible reason for something being there with padding to break the falls. So let's take a time out right there. Do you remember how you guys came up with what if there was a truck?
God, I have no fucking idea how they came up with it, and I hated it.
I didn't like it either.
I just, I was of the mindset from day one of you didn't need the bump. You didn't need craziness. It's big enough. Jesus, we have all the top talent in the world in there, and we have a match, that's going to be spectacular. Let the match be spectacular. Go do your gaga, go do your shit, man, in the cars and everything around it. That's great. But wanted the bump. Oh, you have the bump. Everybody's done the bump. It's just funny when you think about who did the first big bump off the cage. It was Shawn Michaels, and he did it from the middle. That was the big, huge bump. And then, Mick doing his thing just set that stage, and everybody had to outdo it. And spectacular as it was, I don't know that it really added anything to the business.
Yeah.
Overall, because it just became a stunt show to see what bigger stunt we can do. And it adds unnecessary danger. And I'm looking at it as a promoter. I'm looking at it as a creative guy that doesn't want to see people get injured in any way, shape, or form. And that's how I look at it. I fear for those guys when they do crazy things, because I want them to walk out of the arena that night okay.
Right.
And that's, I think all of us do. And Vince would always listen to these ideas and temper them with the safety and the confidence. Not everybody got to do that shit. They want to do it. So that's all.
After the big bump, Rock and Austin finally square off in the middle of the ring, and there's a huge reaction. It's like years before when it was not Undertaker, but Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. And then they get going. Rock's going to block the stunner, hit a spine buster, goes for the people's elbow, but Triple H stops him. Rock does a rock bottom on Kurt Angle. Austin delivers a stunner on Rock. Triple H hits a neck breaker on Austin, and Angle crawls on top of Rock for the pin. Meltzer would say pretty clear this finish is going to be brought up several times between now and April, of how Rock had Angle beat for the title, but Austin stunned him and cost him the match. Of course, after the match, Austin hits Angle with a stunner and leaves. 4.5 stars. And Meltzer would say this: the WWF's final pay-per-view event of its biggest year was sold as a one-match card, and even after buying the show, most of the first 2 hours of the show came across like an ad to buy a show already purchased. After a flat undercard, there was nothing that was terribly bad, but nothing that was particularly good, and it dragged at times because there was so much hype that would have been best served being on Sunday Night Heat, but the main event finally took place. As good as anyone's expectations of the Hell in a Cell with 6 men, this turned out to be much better, to the point it may have even been the WWF's best match of a year that had a lot of strong pay-per-view main events. So one match show probably is the story. And if you're going to watch one match from this show, make it this one. The main event was,
that's the only match, to watch on the show.
Francis Reyes wants to know, was the pine chip on the truck a working chip or a shoot chip? And on a side note, where'd you get it from? Any idea where they got the wood chips from here, Bruce?
Ruffles.
Oh, I thought for sure it was Wood Chips R Us.
They have ridge. No, Ruffles have ridges.
Eric wants to know, what would it sound like if Jim Cornette sang Sweet Home Alabama?
Well, I'd have to think about that one for a minute.
Especially when your arm's feeling better. Well, the new hip thing I want to tell you about is an amazing new app called Vita. They've created a new form of advertising that eliminates spam and allows everyone to get paid for their time and attention. You simply go to vita.io to download the Vita app and select a free second phone number, so you no longer have to worry about giving away your personal number. When a telemarketer calls your Vita number, they'll need to pay to get their message through. And the best part is the app is completely free. Brands are finally realizing the value of rewarding their customers for their time and attention. And our new sponsor, Crowd Health, is using it. But it's not only a fun way to support the show, but you can also earn some money in the process. So please try it out today by downloading the app at vida.io or by calling 509-WRESTLE and following the link. That's 509-973-7853 and help support the show. Call now and you'll earn your first dollar just for downloading. That's vida.io or call 509-WRESTLE. That's 509-WRESTLE and you'll earn your first dollar for just downloading. Jason wants to know, where did the nickname The One come from for Billy Gunn?
Again, shit. Yeah, that one I don't fucking know. I didn't even remember that he was the one, Billy Gunn.
Steve wants to know, where do you get all these rundown cars for the entrance set? Are they driven into the arena or carted in?
Depends on if they can drive or not.
Yeah.
Most of the rundown shit, man, you gotta get you gotta take all the gas tanks, all that shit out of them. So
Yes.
hopefully, usually they're all junk and all that stuff. Can't have a motorized vehicle inside of an enclosed kind of thing like that with a gas tank in it.
Michael has an interesting question. We often hear about Vince not asking talent to do things he wouldn't do, or that he would do them first. Did Vince take the Rikishi bump earlier in the day?
No, he didn't, but he would have.
I'm sure of that.
Take it in a heartbeat.
Fernando Diaz has a fun question for you. If Bruce had to choose one of these three choices, what might he choose? A, take a Rikishi bump. B, do an 8-hour Uber Eats shift with Dave Silva driving.
Oh, God.
Or C, eat a deviled egg prepared by Conrad.
Probably the Rikishi bump.
Well, next week we're going to be watching back the classic Raw where Vince McMahon goes on TV and promises you that the WWF is going to be giving you attitude and not insulting your intelligence. We're also going to start talking about the build for Taker and Shawn Michaels at Royal Rumble, LOD versus DX in the main event, Owen being interviewed by Vince, the Intercontinental titles thrown in the river, and so much more. Lots of fun stuff coming your way here on the program. And if your business targets men 25 to 54, no better place to look to advertise than right here with us. AdvertiseWithBruce.com can hook you up. Also, love to have your interactions on social. The show is at Prichard Show on Twitter and Instagram, and Something to Wrestle over on Facebook. If you've got questions or you want to participate in the polls, that's how you get involved. We're also going to be going live in the new year over on our YouTube channel. You want to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and turn your notifications bell on. You don't want to miss Bruce when he's in rare form. It's somethingtowrestle.com. Lots of new swag and merch available too for the wrestling fan in your life. If you're looking for a little post-Christmas present, maybe you're doing a swap afterwards. Well, somethingtowrestleshirts.com can hook you up. And by the way, if you're looking to save a little money, skip a couple of house payments, get rid of some credit card debt, savewithconrad.com is good for what ails you. But right now, Bruce, we talked about it earlier. You teed it up. You tried to get the third man on our program here, Mr. Dave Silva, the man behind the scenes, to do his interpretation of a song. And we actually had a listener request to have Dave Silva do Shawn Michaels' theme song. So you remember several weeks ago, we had him do a Hulk Hogan and do a John Cena and do a Cody. You want to see if we can get Dave Silva to do a little Shawn Michaels action for us?
He has to.
He has to. It's part of his job. Damn it.
Yeah. Well, we ask him to do a lot of things that are part of his job that never get done.
But we're putting him on the spot for this one. We're drawing a line in the sand.
Hey, mash the little button, put your little self up on there. There you go, Tiger.
Well, listen, get yourself over. Let's go to a one shot with you, and let's
Go
get
ahead.
Shawn Michaels sexy boy.
Shawn, you think I'm hot? You know I'm sexy. Your knees get weak whenever I'm around. You hear me talk. You see me walk. The chicks go wild and make grown man cry. I'm just a sexy boy. Sexy boy. I'm not your boy talk. I'm just your sexy boy. Sexy boy. I'm just a boy talk.
All right, boys and girls, no beating that. Merry Christmas.
He left his clothes on, though.
You want him to take his shirt off?
Well, that's what Shawn does.
Oh,
Shawn takes his gear off when he gets to the stage.
here's what we all want. Let's go to one shot of Bruce. Here's what we all want. We want to unwrap our present known as Bruce Prichard. So why don't you drop the laundry? Come on, Bruce. We're waiting on you.
Can you hear my foot? Can you hear my foot tapping? I've had my wife and son both looking at me through the door, going, "Are you okay?"
Come on. Bruce. It's Christmas time. Come on. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Show us a nipple, Daddy. All right. Do you want to,
Y'all were mean to me today.
how are we mean to you?
I don't know. Y'all were mean to me.
Can you wish everybody a Merry Christmas and we'll wrap today's show up?
Hey, I would like to wish everybody an extremely Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, whatever it is that you may celebrate. And thank you very much for supporting us like you do. And that is the absolute best Christmas gift that I personally can get. And to you, I give you the very best wishes for the absolute happiest holiday that you can possibly have. We love you, and thank you for sticking with us.
And thank you for joining us. We hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, and we'll be back before you have a Happy New Year right here on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard.
Rock on.
NMLS number 32416, equal housing lender.
Ready for some great news during the holidays? Just last week, interest rates fell lower than they've been in months. This could be your chance to finally pay off all of your high interest rate credit cards and lower your monthly payments by $500, $600, $700, even $800 a month. But how much can you save? It's free to find out right now at SaveWithConrad.com. And you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket. And you even get to skip your next 2 house payments at SaveWithConrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what AdFreeShows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that AdFreeShows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. AdFreeShows.com.